Worn or frayed cables should be replaced immediately. Here are the tools you'll need for the job: safety glasses, winding bars, which are 2 steel bars 1/2 inch in diameter and 14 to 18 inches long, a 1/2 inch wrench, pliers, a pair of vice grips, masking tape, a work lamp, a stepladder, and 2 equal-size wood blocks, 2x4, to keep the door from pinching your lamp cord. We'll start with the replacement of a single cable. This is important. If you're replacing a damaged or broken cable, it may be advisable to replace both cables at the same time due to age or condition of the other cable. When replacing a single cable, you start by releasing the cable from the cable drum. Loosen the set screws and remove the cable from the drum. Then, release the cable at the cable anchor. Do this by removing the cotter pin and the cable anchor pin. Remove the cable and discard it. When ready, insert the thimble end of the replacement cable into the cable anchor. Then, replace the cable anchor pin and the cotter pin. Carry the new cable to the top of the door and thread it between the header and the top of the door panel and tape it in this position. Unlock and raise the door. Be very careful when you do this. Place the equal-size wooden blocks on the threshold. Go inside with your tools, stepladder, and work lamp, and lower the door onto your wooden blocks. This is important. The spring is under high tension and could cause severe injury. Repairs and adjustments must be made by trained service personnel. When ready, fully insert one of the steel rods into the most convenient hole in the counterbalance spring winding plug. Raise the bar enough to insert the second steel rod. Release the tension on the rods so that the second rod is resting against the top panel of your door. Insert the cable end of the new cable into the slot. Thread the cable onto the groove nearest the slot and turn the drum toward you. Continue turning the drum until all the slack is taken out, making sure the cable is following in its proper groove. If your cable is not properly wrapped around the drum, the cable will run out of space on the drum, and as the door is raised, it could cause the cable to jump off the drum. Maintain tension on the cable and slide the cable drum on the counterbalance shaft against the bearing. This is an important step to ensure proper alignment. With the drum against the bearing and tension applied to the new cable, tighten both set screws. With the first drum now secure, readjust the tension on the undamaged cable by following the same procedure. Make sure it is positioned against the counterbalance shaft bearing. Then retighten the set screws. Both cables should have equal tension. To change out the second cable, repeat this procedure. You complete the cable replacement by releasing the spring tension. Use caution. Rotating the counterbalance assembly and drums too far may cause cables to jump off the cable drums. Rotate the assembly far enough to allow the removal of the winding bar. If you need to replace a cable drum, spring assembly, shaft, or the bearing assembly, you'll need to remove the counterbalance assembly first. Begin by unlocking and raising the door. Place equal-size wood blocks on the threshold. Go inside with your tools and work lamp and lower the door onto your wooden blocks. This is important. The spring is under high tension and could cause severe injury. Repairs and adjustments must be made by trained service personnel. When ready, fully insert one of the steel rods into the most convenient hole in the counterbalance spring winding plug. Raise the bar enough to insert the second steel rod. Release the tension on the rods so that the second rod is resting against the top panel of your door. Loosen the set screws on both the left and right cable drums. Unwind the cable and tape the end to the inside of the top panel. Repeat with the second cable. Loosen the set screws Now, rotate the steel rod in the counterbalance spring winding plug until all tension has been relieved. Loosen and then remove the 2 bolts from the spring anchor bracket. Then, loosen and remove the 2 bolts from the bearing assembly to be replaced. If you're replacing a cable drum or shaft bearing assembly, you only have to remove the bolts from one of the bearing assemblies like this. Slide the counterbalance shaft in the same direction as the bearing you just removed until it clears the bearing assembly on the opposite side. Then, take down the free counterbalance assembly. If the anchor bracket is too close, you'll need to remove the 2 bolts from it, allowing you to remove the drum or bearing assembly. Slide off the old cable drum and reinstall the new cable drum. If you need to replace a cable drum, please note that they are specifically designed and marked for use on the left or right side. You determine this from the inside facing the door. Your right is the door's right, which is also the driver's side. Your left is the door's left, or the passenger side. With the counterbalance down, the shaft bearing assembly can be easily removed and replaced. Also, with the counterbalance down, a broken or damaged spring assembly can be removed and a new one installed, like this. Install the counterbalance assembly by reversing this process. Refer to the Cable Replacement section of this program for the complete procedure to reinstall the cables. The next section will guide you on installing and rewinding a new spring.